Welcome back to yet another absolutely stunning mountain scene. It is Sunday, November 29th, and we are in the beautiful Bitterroot Mountains of Montana. The sun is just now starting to go over the peaks. I'm waiting for some good light. So, as is frequently the case, I find myself free on a Sunday evening and I'm really just out scouting. The sky was just bluebird today and I wasn't going to get the light that I wanted to. There's always hope over the mountains though. If you're shooting around mountains, stick it out. Go to your sights, even if the day isn't perfect. If it's a bluebird day or if it's really rainy, I'll urge you to just go to the sights because you never know what's going to happen with the clouds over the mountain. There were no clouds here just a little bit ago, and now you can see there's some wispy clouds up above these mountains. And with a little bit of luck, that sky will light up as soon as that sun drops far enough towards the horizon behind these mountains. And there's not going to be too many more days left where I can actually get up these mountain roads. There's lots of snow in the area, and it's not deep here now, but it will be very soon. There's snow forecasted tomorrow, actually, just a little bit in the valley, which means it could be, feet up here. So, take the chances when you get them. I think I found a composition I really like. I started way up here. Well, you can't even see it. Oh, there it is. Way up here on those rocks behind me. And I just couldn't find a good composition. When shooting these big mountain vistas, you can see how pretty those mountains are, but there's just nothing in between me and those mountains. There's no middle ground at all. So I've been looking for some mid ground. And kind of what I found here is this mountain ridge. Well, I can't even point like this. This mountain ridge here kind of gives me a little bit of mid ground. At least it fills it in. That mountain ridge is about a third of the way to those big back peaks. You probably can't tell it here, but at least it gives you some little bit of depth. So I'm using that as my mid ground. But what I really like is I like framed shots. I really like my foreground to frame my image, whether it's a tree branch or a rock, maybe a waterfall, anything like that. And what I found here is big V-notch. Here, I'm going to turn the camera around. So what I found is this big V-notch in this rock, and kind of frames those mountains if I'm at the right angle. And it looks like there's a little bit of color coming in the sky, so it might pay off. So anyway, when I got here, I started up at the overlook, which a road runs kind of near. I had to hike to it, but this overlook back behind me, back up here, it's a lot farther in person than it looks on this video. That scene just wasn't there. I didn't have any mid-ground at all, and the foreground wasn't fantastic, so I wandered around. I actually came down a bit lower. I am standing on the edge of, I don't know if you can tell, but it's about a 900-foot tall cliff. I tossed a rock off. I hollered first to make sure there's nobody down there hollering back, but tossed a rock and counted, and it's between 800 and 900 feet down from here, so definitely don't want to do that in the dark. Now, I do know my path back, and it's a safe path back. I'm going to use all fours, go on my hands and knees at some point to get up there, but I can get up there safely. But I certainly wouldn't want to come down. You make one wrong step going this way, and yeah, bad news, really bad news. So now it's just a waiting game. See if that sky lights up, see if it becomes something that's going to be portfolio worthy. That sun did just go down over top of the peaks. Can't actually see the sun anymore. And what I did right before it went down, right as it was getting to the top of the peak, I did try to get a nice sunburst shot, where it shows the rays of the sun. And if you don't know how to do that, basically take your f-stop, take your aperture and tighten it down. I went to f22 though, and it gives me those really distinct sun rays. And I didn't like the photo so much, but it was fun to play with. And with the right light, it would have been really cool. Now it's a waiting game. Gonna see if this light turns on. Okay, I think I finally got this thing set up in the right spot now. It's framed exactly the way I want it, and I'm not gonna touch it. This was a nightmare to get set up. I don't know if you can tell how awkward that arrangement is of the legs, but I've got legs at different lengths and different angles, and check this out. Check out how awkward of an angle that is between the tripod and the tripod head. Typically, I would try to make that ball head as vertical as possible, just so that, to get as much stability as possible. And actually, this isn't terribly stable. I don't really want to bump the camera. It's stable enough for me to push the shutter button, but it's not enough for me to shake it around. Unfortunately, it's really calm right now, so I don't have to worry about that. And the more I walk up and down these rocks trying to stabilize this, the more this rock behind me gets all smeared with the snow off my boots. And it's turned into a slip and slide, so we're not going to touch it, but it's finally where I'm at, where I want it to be. You might have noticed that I have removed my center column from the tripod, and that's because I couldn't get it to clear the rocks while I was trying to set it up, so I actually switched it out for this little stubby. If you watch some other photography channels out there, Nick Page comes to mind. He hates center columns. You either love them or hate them, and maybe it's not true. I don't love them or hate them. I like them. I think they're very convenient, but sometimes they just get in the way. So I wrestled it out of there, switched it out for the little stubby center column, which is kind of a pain. And then turns out right where I chose would have fit. So, oh well. Now we're back to the waiting game. So, did choose a vertical or a portrait orientation for this photo. I really like the framing for it. These two rocks come together. This cliff over here and here come together in a way that makes a nice little V right beneath one of those peaks, or pretty close to right beneath one of the peaks. And I really like how there's a point at the bottom of the photo and points at the top of the photo. But this photo is going to be nothing, absolutely nothing, if that sky doesn't light up. I'll show you why. So here's my composition. I have one V down here and then another kind of V made by the mountains. And it's really not so much of a V as it is flat across there. And I wish I could change that. I wish there was a little bit more mountain in the sky up here, but there's just not. That's not the scene. There's some cloud texture you can't see on this video, but without any color in that sky, this is going to be a boring shot. I have a whole lot of interest in the foreground, and I have some interest in the midground now. That ridge is exactly what I was looking for midground. But you can see in the photo, that all ends up in the bottom third. In the middle third is those mountains in the background. In the top third, there's just nothing going on. It's just white right now. And unfortunately, those clouds, those little wispy clouds, I don't know if you can see them in this video. I'll try to focus on them. Yeah, there they are. They formed, and I got really excited. Now they're blowing away. This is unfortunate. I really thought that we might get lucky here at the last minute because all those clouds popped up in the sky, and I thought we might have just something fantastic, but it's really not looking like it. Those clouds are blowing away. See if we can focus on that. They were covering the sky. Now, as you can see, they're only just over the mountains, which is going to leave a big portion of my scene either just blue or white, depending on how I shoot it. And I don't think that's going to be what I want. And I don't think that's what's going to be good in this scene. But I can tell you for sure that I will be back here. So it goes back to the importance of scouting. Get out there, explore, even on the days that aren't perfect, the days that aren't going to give you necessarily a portfolio shot. Get out there and practice and find new spots. Because now I know if I can wrestle the legs of this tripod into the right spot, that I definitely have a keeper shot here. I just need the right weather. Might not happen this year even. More snow on those mountains means less access to this area, and that's okay. Okay, well, the temperature dropped, the sun set, and there's no color. So kind of what I feared was going to happen there. Those clouds moved out, and it turned into nothing. It looks bright out here right now. I can see better on this camera than I can in real life. I probably got about 10 minutes to get out of here before I got to turn on a flashlight so I can walk through these woods. So I'm going to head home. I'm going to call it defeat on the light, but it's a win on the position or on the location. I know where to set up. What this scene really needs, what this location really needs at sunset, is some cloud cover over top of these mountains. So when the sun goes down over the horizon behind the mountains, it reflects off of the bottom of those clouds and hits these rocks and makes them glow with the color of the clouds for the sunset. Might work for sunrise as well, but I really think this would be great for sunset at this time of year. So I'll see if I can come back in maybe next weekend, maybe the weekend after, if the conditions are looking right. But if there's more snow, then it was worth a shot, and I'll come back in the spring. But thanks for coming along with me, and I'll see you next time.